Welcome back to the show. So earlier this month, I was on a flight from Phoenix back to the upstate of South Carolina, and I posted an opportunity for people to ask me questions on my Instagram page at Finance Cowboy. And Mark sent me one that said, I'm eager to get started in real estate, but I'm afraid to lose money at the same time. Wow, this was a huge question for me to unpack because I'm very passionate about it. I am passionate about it because you cannot make money if you do not put your money to work. So you can make money through active income, but then the money that you bring in through that active income, if it's not put into an investment vehicle, albeit real estate, which I love, stocks, whatever the case may be, then you're not going to make money on it. In fact, if we look at what happens to cash over time, it actually loses value. So if you have money sitting in a savings account, over time it's going to devalue. Why? Because inflation is increasing. So you have this money sitting in a savings account that isn't growing or compounding like it would be if it was in investments, but the cost of living is continuing to get higher. And what happens is you run the risk of getting to a position late in life. You've got your kids gone, it's just you and your husband at the house, and you have some money in the bank, but you've missed out on 20, 30, 40 years of compound interest and allowing that money to grow so you can live life how you want to in those later years. Check out this clip from the Dave Ramsey show of this lady who called in. Her husband and her are over 50 years old and they haven't invested.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for taking my call. God bless you. I love what you do. We are a happily married couple, 25 years, just about to be empty nesters. And we feel like we have missed the financial boat, so to speak. We started out ready to invest around 2001 when the tech crash happened. And so we didn't invest in the stock market and things like that because we were concerned. We were just saved up enough money and we're getting ready to invest when the 2008 real estate crash happened. And again, we pulled back and did not invest. So we just stayed put and we just kept saving. And now all we hear is cash is trash and the American dollar is in trouble. And we feel like we have missed the boat and we're concerned now that maybe we missed a way to help us retire.
How much do you have in savings?
$2 million.
Okay, I'm absolutely amazed. And so all of this money is just money you put in there because you've never really made any money on your money.
No, we've hardly made any. We have self-laddered CDs and done some bonds, but
yeah, basically your rates of return have sucked, and you still got to $2 million, and yeah. You're still afraid
to invest. Yes.
Okay, but you have $2 million. So how did you miss the boat?
Yeah.
How big a boat were you wanting to get on?
I was going to say that's a great boat.
But we don't know now that our kids' stuff has been paid for, college and things like that. We just never took any time to do anything or plan for us as much as just keep our head down and work hard. And now we picked our head up. And
what boat did you miss? You missed out on a bunch of returns that you could have had 4 or 6 million instead of 2 million, but you still have $2 million. So I don't think we can really cry a river here.
Okay, but when you say 4 or 6 million, that makes me really sad. But there's no way to fix the past.
No, all you can do is think about the future. Okay, so let me parrot back to you what you said to me.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you got up the courage to invest, you found a negative story somewhere that caused you to not do it. Fear.
Yes.
And now your new fear is the American dollar is going to pot. That's your latest one.
Yes.
That's your latest one.
Yes.
And have you noticed that your other two fears didn't come true?
Yes. I don't like roller coasters. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, but the roller coaster, even with the roller coaster, you wouldn't have lost all your money. You would not have been broke and homeless. That the 2008 real estate crash actually had in the stock market crash, it came back and, it went all the way down to 6,300 and it's at 30,000 Dow today. And so, you missed out on all of that. Yeah, it's a ride, but, you're going to either not have, if you had ridden the roller coaster, you might have had $8 million. And so even if the roller coaster screws up, it's got to really screw up to end up with nothing. You follow?
Now, your first thought maybe she has $2 million, big whoop, like she's doing fine. Yeah, I mean, $2 million is a lot of money. It's a pretty noble feat that they have literally stored that away into a savings account. Now, most people can't save $2 million by the age, call it, these people are 55 years old. But I want to play out her and her husband's scenario to show you the wealth that they missed out on by not investing that money over the last 30 years. So if we take $2 million and we divide it by 30, that means they've been investing roughly around $66,000 per year, or not investing, putting into their savings account $66,000 per year. So they've done that for 30 years, and today they have $2 million. Great. They're in a better position than most, but let's plug this into a compound interest calculator. If we were to say they started at zero 30 years ago, and they deposited $66,000 every year for the next 30 years with an 8% return, they would have over $8 million today. Let me say that again. Depositing $66,000 into an asset that offers an 8% return every year for the last 30 years, today that $2 million that they have because it's just been sitting in a bank account would be worth $8. That is a huge difference. Number one, imagine how your lifestyle can be different over the next 20, 30 years of your life when you have $8 million compared to $2 million. But imagine all of the things and people that you could help. They literally could have quadrupled 4x the amount that they have in retirement by being able to say, you know what, I'm going to let go of this emotion of fear, and I'm going to think logically and realize that, yes, it is hard. Guys, I understand it is very hard to part ways with our hard-earned money. We work very, very hard for it, and then to take it and to deposit it into something that we don't have total control over can be scary. But you know what's even scarier is when you move fear aside for a minute and you replace it with logic, and you look and say, logically, I should be able to get at least an 8% return roughly on my money. Let's call it 7%, it would be a little bit lower. But for this example, an 8% return on my money. If I just do this little feat, even if we take real estate out of the picture, if they just went into index funds for the last 30 years, then they would have had 4x their money. And so this is a learning lesson for all of us. We can't just do what feels comfortable.
It's no secret that if you're going to be successful in real estate investing, you have to be able to fund your deals. Whether you're doing the BRRRR method or whether you're fixing and flipping properties for a profit, you got to be able to get to the closing table with money, and you got to have money to rehab the property. And so I personally use Backflip Capital when I need money to get to the closing table and to rehab my properties. I'm in the middle of a flip right now, and I partner with Backflip. It has been the smoothest process of all time. I literally went on their app, applied for the loan. You get pre-approved in less than 48 hours. You can lock in funding in just a few seconds with the touch of a button. Funding takes less than 2 weeks. Hello, that gives you an advantage when you're making offers on properties. And I can't say enough about partnering with Backflip Capital. They're great folks with a fantastic product that everybody listening to this should check out for the next time you go to do a BRRRR deal or fix and flip property. So here's what I want you to do. Go down to the show notes of this show. I've put a link for Backflip Capital in those notes. All you have to do is click the link so that you can download their app and get your next deal funded with Backflip.
Because when we just stay in our comfort zone, we miss out on the destiny that lies before us. Now, have they probably had a good life? They have a good family. They have $2 million to live on for the next 20, 30 years. Yeah, they're in a good position. But when we look at the average person who maybe only has $500,000 in saving when they're retired, what if they would have invested and now they have $2 million or $2.5 million to their name? What does their life look like at 55 or 60 compared to not investing? But then we can also rewind it. Imagine what these folks would have been able to do at an earlier stage of life should they have actually put their money to work. Think about this. I guarantee you they worked, let's call it from age 40 to 50, while their children were in school because they had to, because they didn't have any assets that could pay for their lifestyle. And they're obviously still worried about it at their age, and they're not sure if that $2 million, although it sounds like a lot of money, is even going to be able to cover them throughout all of their golden retirement years. Because what if something comes up that can start to dwindle really fast? So I guarantee you they were definitely still working during this time period. But imagine if they had been investing. Let's run it on the compound interest calculator. So I did 30 years at 50 years old. If we'd have been doing $66,000 a year for 20 years, let's say they would have been 40, they would have had $3.2 million when they were 40 years old. $3.2 million. When they're 45, they would have had, and this is all hypothetical, you guys are getting the point, they would have had $5 million at age 45. Probably could have stopped working 5 or 10 years earlier. $5 million. live off 100 grand a year, 150 grand a year, 200 grand a year, and you still are going to be in a very good position to be able to live on that for a really long time. And so anybody and all you listening to this who are struggling with this same real setback, I want you to look at Kathy and her husband's story and say, is that what I want for my future? Because I truly believe it's riskier for your future to not invest than it is to invest. You may not be so lucky and end up with $2 million like Kathy did. That takes a lot of discipline to be able to set that money aside in the bank. You may get to retirement and have less, or even worse, you look back and say, you know what? I could have woke up and decided what I wanted my days to look like at 35 or 40 or 45 if I would have just been able to overcome this fear that's been holding me back. So I encourage you today, go out and start adding investments to your portfolio. I personally love real estate. I think it gives the best returns. You can leverage other people's money. You get cash flow. You get appreciation. You get a ton of tax benefits. Take that money out, get it to work. Keep 3 to 6 months of emergency fund in cash. That's all you need in savings. The rest of it needs to be invested so you can change your financial future and live the life of your dreams.